Good afternoon, everyone. This is Alan Beckley. I'm the inventor of the Wonder Wallet, and I am shooting this Facebook Live video this afternoon from my backyard. It's kind of a pretty day out, a little cool, but nice sunshine, and I like to shoot outside when I can, albeit that there is a little bit of noise. But anyways, my whole plan and my whole reason I wear these ridiculous name tags is to show you that on my website, alanbeckley.com, there are lots of resources for inventors and creative people, and including blogs from over 3 years, information on an upcoming webinar will be there soon, as well as lots of freebies, I call them, links, free PDFs on lots and lots of different topics. So all of that is available on alanbeckley.com. And my key point, my key mission at this point in time is I've had some success with the Wonder Wallet, and something so many inventors never enjoy any success. And my goal, my mission in life is to help others to achieve success, especially those who really have great ideas, because inventing is a challenging business, and even with the best concept, the best idea, the best product, it can be quite a challenge to get it to market successfully. So I'm taking what I've learned over 15 years and helping as many of you to do the same as I possibly can. So part of that is today, this is my third in a series of going back to basics. And that is, the topic here is new invention idea. What should be your third step? For those who are saying, well, third step, what about the first or second step? Ah, yes, last week was the second step, and there's a video there. And the week before that was the first step. So for those who are curious to know what the first and second steps are, go to alanbeckley.com or go to alanbeckley.com and click on blog where my blogs are, and then you will be able to see and access that information. So without further ado, I wonder what it's like if you have less ado. But anyways, without further ado, we'll get to the topic. What should be your or my third step with a new invention idea? Well, the third step takes the form of focusing on things that have the best chance for success as a new inventive product. And specifically what I mean by that is look for simple consumer items that are somewhat inexpensive, and stay clear of things that are either somewhat expensive or somewhat complex. To some degree, this seems fairly logical, but I discover over and over again that so many inventors have ideas that seem elegant, exotic, and actually very expensive. And when I would ask them, so this exotic, expensive item, how would you afford to get that to market? And their answer is always, oh, big corporations, they got millions of dollars. It's no big deal for them. Well, big corporations, just like people, have budgets, and they don't budget money to buy just whatever. They have payroll and many other things to do. So just as something would be very difficult for you as an individual to afford to buy something that's expensive, the same is true for a corporation. Sure, they have a bigger budget than you do, but they have a budget, and their budget is focused on their business today. But the bigger issue really is, sure, there are complex things that can get taken to market and they can be successful, but it's like pushing a very large boulder up the hill. If you're an independent inventor, it's challenging and risky to take any kind of product successfully to the marketplace. It becomes more challenging, more risky to take something that is more complex and more expensive. And let me break it down just a little bit further. Now, if something is more complex, what has to happen when someone buys it? Well, here's the simple answer. They have to have some degree of education. They have to learn how to understand what this somewhat complex product is, what it does, and why it would benefit them. And the third thing is why and then would they buy it. Secondarily, if it's more expensive, they're less inclined to buy it, or more importantly, they're a lot more inclined to think quite a long time about it before they buy it. And let me assure you, thinking about things usually means months or years later, or usually never. So those are a couple of things against having complex and or expensive products. The other analogy that I did use in my blog, and I think it's the most appropriate or simple one that I can come up with, is the following. the iPhone and the whole iPhone series are phenomenally successful products that Apple has rolled out. But a lot of people forget that in 2007, I believe January, when they first rolled out the first iPhone, there actually was quite a lot of public pushback. A lot of consumers greeted this funny looking flat case with a glass covering is sort of foreign to them. Why? Because iPhones and cell phones in those days were generally pretty inexpensive, first of all, and also they were like a miniature typewriter. They all featured a keyboard, so you'd key in your text message, and they all featured a low cost. A lot of them even had flip phones. I guess there's still flip phones today, but not near as many as there were then. But what people didn't realize is the iPhone came out at $499. That was a lot of money for a cell phone back in 2007. And it had no keyboard. People say, how do I enter anything in? There's no keyboard. Oh, well, you just tap on this glass surface and that will work. Oh, you have to, oh, what are all these icons? Well, there's other functions. And all these people are thinking, what else do you use a phone for besides talking and or sending somebody a text message? Again, back to 2007, by and large, that's mostly what people did with cell phones. So there was a huge education process to be done, and Apple, being a multi-million-dollar corporation even then, was more than willing to survive the public storm of for lack of a better term, indignation, and willing to do the hard work and lift to show people that it really was worth it, and that indeed this new way of doing things had some benefits. And furthermore, wouldn't it be cool if you could play all your music on your iPhone? Sure, you got an iPod, but wouldn't it be cool if you could play your music on your cell phone? At first, people thought that kind of ridiculous as well. But my point is, back in 2007, the iPhone represented a somewhat expensive, somewhat complex from the consumer's experience at that time product, and a very large corporation like Apple could indeed make it work. An individual like you or me, wow, we would never get anywhere with such a complex piece of work. So to bring all that around, a key thing, a third step, so to speak, when you are looking to bring forth a new idea, a new product or service, is to is to look for something simple, not something extremely complex. Look for something simple and inexpensive, and then focus on showing the value of this product, what it will do for consumers, and secondarily, make it easy. I guess the last thing I would say about it, something that's definitely changed since I was a mere child many years ago, was, when you had Christmas morning way back when, all the kids would come rushing down to the Christmas tree. They would open the packages, and then the next 2 to 3 hours would be dad and or mom assembling the gifts, right? Does anybody remember that? I remember that. It was real common. So some assembly required was part of the game. And as parents, that was not a lot of fun. That's not the case today. Consumers don't expect to assemble much of anything. They don't want a user's manual. They don't want to get a screwdriver out. They don't want to do any of that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean they won't under certain circumstances, but that's not something that is considered a good consumer experience anymore. So my point in all of this is, when you come up with a new product idea, consumers expect it to work out of the box. They take it out of the box, it's ready to go. Or at the very least, it's intuitive. They can push a couple of buttons and they can figure out how it works. No one wants to read an instruction manual anymore, and no one wants to assemble anything. So that brings me back to my central point, and I will close up with that. Come up with something that's simple, something that's inexpensive, ideally a consumer item that will sell for $19.95 or something less than $25 for sure, and something millions and millions of people need. And one last point that I've made in several other of these topics, ideally it should be something that solves an annoying problem that millions of people have. So you put that combination together, a low-cost consumer product that is simple and easy to use, and it solves an annoying problem, and you could have a really big hit on your hands. So with that, I will sign off and just ask all of you that are watching if you would like to join my ongoing presentations here, please just click follow and you'll receive this every week, as well as my weekly blog and access to free information on my website, and also information on webinars that are upcoming. So with that, I will sign off. Thank you, everybody. Sai Chen, till we see you next time.